Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another Shamshir Sound video. Today we're going to be talking all about Sausage Fattener. I really love this plugin. I really love Data Life. I always enjoyed their heavy electro house, and I'm thinking about going back to those days where we were making heavy electro beats and it was just about the bass line and the kick and that gritty, distorted, heavy sound. So today I want to show you guys my thoughts on Sausage Fattener, how to apply it on different stuff. Does it make sense on drums only or synths only? Where to apply it, vocals. Is there a time where we want to do like 100% and have Mr. Sosej, as I like to call him, at 100%? What about color? How does that apply and how does that affect the signal? So we're going to run some simple sounds through here, sine wave, saw wave, and then I'm going to take some drums and see how we can enhance them and how we can use them. So right now I have a sine, just a sine signal, and there's nothing else on the master but Sausage Fattener and Voxengo span for monitoring. So here we have this. So it's a higher pitched sine wave. And when we go ahead and turn on Sausage Fattener, one thing is going to happen with Sausage Fattener is that it's a hard clipper. So if you want to keep your level in check, if you want to maybe prevent your signal from clipping, Sausage Fattener is great for that. You can use it on the master, just be careful. It does change the characteristics, so maybe for better or for worse. And Data Life has said themselves, there are some situations they've used it, but not all the time. So it's situational. Now pay attention to what's going on here, because as I crank up the fatness, we can see this sort of effect that is similar to, I think of FabFilter Saturn, where we have basically some saturation being added, some new harmonics being created from that root harmonic from the original one. And the nice thing is that, think of a synth, if you really want to create a little bit more harmonics, make it a bit more beefier, Sausage Fattener would be great for that. Now if we go down, so this fatness knob, it is going to do a variety of things, but the main thing really is the saturation, that saturating of the sound. And the color here is going to add kind of like this EQ curve, a soft EQ curve, an enhancement towards the high end. And it's not insane, but it has a pretty drastic effect. Here with 100%, it's not doing much. But if we switch to something like a saw wave, so you can kind of hear it sweeping through, almost kind of like this high shelf. And it's nice to have. And what I want to show you guys here, let's try doing this 100%. So you can see it added some low harmonics as well. Sausage Fattener will be a quick way. And I know a lot of people hate on this plugin. But the people who hate on plugins, and I mean, I'm guilty as charged too. I was hating on Massive X, but but people who hate on Sausage Fattener is just a tool at the end of the day. And let this be a lesson to me too. Massive X is just a tool at the end of the day. So we should always just look at what can we do with that plugin. What can it achieve for us? What can it give us? What kind of desired result? And with Sausage Fattener, something that I was doing in a recent video, my previous video, which I said was I was doing something weird. I was cranking this all the way down and I was putting fatness all the way up and color all the way up. And I could have sworn I saw Data Life do this in one video. Maybe I missed, maybe, my eyes saw something wrong. I don't know. But this gain knob, it is important. This gain knob, if you bring it all the way down, because if you use it in a situation where you just want to give a little bit of enhancement, sometimes a little bit of fatness, 1, 2, 3%, and you can compensate by bringing it down a couple dB. I always like to use Voxengo span so that, because your ears are a way where louder is better, so you want it to be that you match that signal. So if you want to match that signal, so we have the peak around here, minus 8.4. I would turn on Sausage. You can see it's gone up really high, minus 5.8. So if I wanted to just give a little bit of enhancement, I would match this. You'd want to bring it to the point where it's the same level. But here, I want to do something crazy for the sake of this video. I want to do this, and I want to bring this down. This is something that I did recently, and it's something really weird, but it works. Like, it's strange, it's heavy, like it's going in heavy, but let's see if there is something that maybe we can do. And usually with this, like, drums is a really good thing to do. I really recommend you guys to get this drum pack from Audio Animals. It's free. It's a breakbeat drum pack, and it's so sick. So let's see here. Let's set our BPM to 122. And let's crank up Sosej and see what is it doing here. So it really gives a lot more air and crisp. So you could do it. It's kind of like a quick and lazy way to give more presence and more power. If we do it the more conservative way, I would do it like this. Even though this has gotten louder, it is more in your face. Let's bring down the gain a bit more. It's more in your face, and yeah, there's more apparent loudness, but the snare is hitting harder. The color is helping that to give a little bit more crispiness towards that high end. So there's always going to be situations where, you know, it's always dependent on what you're feeding into Sausage Fattener. Let's go ahead and take some sort of vocal. So we'll go ahead and grab a vocal, and this is from the same guys, Audio Animals. We're gonna just grab something.
Dance around in the place.
Okay, that's not really that pleasing. Let's grab like a phrase.
E17 is a place called home. Big up my Essex gang. Big up my...
Okay. So here we have a vocal. Not that low pitch. Already very loud. Like already it's normalized. So when it's already normalized like that, always be careful what you're working with. Sometimes stuff is heavily processed already. Sometimes it's not heavily processed. Like these drums have a lot of dynamic range versus this has a lot less dynamic range. And I don't like what's going on right there. Like fat ass. But let's see what it sounds like without Sosej.
Big up my Essex gang.
Now with.
Big up my Essex gang.
Yeah, that might over amplify those obnoxious frequencies. So you'd want to be careful using Sausage Fattener on something like this. I would definitely run my EQs and everything first before putting Sausage Fattener. I would probably have Sausage Fattener in the middle of the chain, maybe more towards the end of the chain. But can we do something subtle? Something that has an effect? Let's try that extreme. Let's see what happens.
Big up my Essex. Big up my Essex gang. Big up my Essex gang. Big up my Essex gang. Big up my Essex gang.
We could maybe reduce the volume after.
Big up my Essex gang.
And what is that like without?
Big up my Essex gang. Big up my Essex gang. Big up my Essex gang. Big up my Essex gang.
And it does sound like we've put an EQ on this because it just sounds more driven and whatnot. So always there's going to be different ways that you can use Mr. Sosej. Let's back it off and bring it to like -3 and start to introduce a little bit of fatness.
Big up my Essex, big up my big up my Essex, big up my Essex, big up my Essex gang, big up my Essex gang, big up my Essex, big up my Essex, big up my Essex, big up my Essex, big up my Essex gang, big up my Essex gang, big up my Essex gang, big up my 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 Essex gang, big up my Essex gang.
So here it's not really doing a whole lot for this vocal, but definitely for bass lines and drums and whatnot, it is like it can do a whole lot to save your sound. I find that Sausage Fattener can help fix sometimes presence, the solidity of the track going into it. But definitely, if you have something like this, be warned, like that going into Sausage might sound even more annoying than it already is, because this sounds like shit. That's my personal opinion. I don't like the way this sounds, but that phrase is just not really great.
Freezing cold like Poland. Freezing cold. Freezing cold like Poland. 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 Freezing cold like Poland.
That's really pushing the color. We hear it here, really pushing.
Freezing cold like Poland. Freezing cold like Poland. Freezing cold like Poland.
Yeah, the color is really pushing this like, I think of the EQ inside of Zephyr Serum. I think of like a curve shelf kind of rolling through. Not only rolling through, but also perhaps being introduced more gain as you're cranking up the color. More dB gain on the EQ, but also shifting as you're cranking the knob up. And with vocals on this one, doesn't sound that great. Let's try to see what it will do on something like maybe a kick or something like that. Some sort of just any sort of synth. So we have here like a pluck. And now we have it on. So this is the extreme. That's really cool. I like that. It really pushes the sound forward. It really makes it very present. So there's definitely a variety of ways you can use this. And the way that I saw Data Life had it, they had it like around here on the sound that they were doing. And you should never always use a specific way. Like I've used Sausage where I do 0 and 0 and I'm doing nothing. Sometimes I want to add more loudness. Sometimes I want to back it off. So you have to use Sausage Fattener in the way that you want to carve your sound. Think of Sausage Fattener as like a way that you can manipulate your sound, drive it, push it forward, fix presence, saturate it, give a little bit of color in a simple way that can get fast results. And that's why I love Sausage Fattener. But Sausage Fattener can definitely have a detrimental effect if you put it on your master, because it can totally manipulate the way the sound is. And definitely it's a much more suitable for your insert tracks as opposed to on the master. I found that when I use it on the master, the stereo signal changed a lot. The bass, the way it sounded, changed a lot. It just sounded like I put on something that heavily changed the sound as opposed to doing it in a more subtle ways, because master chain, definitely you want to do subtle, more subtleties step by step. Let's come back to this break beat here. So one thing is that you are saturating it and it's doing like this sort of, I don't want to say compression because I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes here, but the noise floor is raising. So keep that in mind. Sosej is going to definitely squeeze out the dynamic range and make it louder. You're going to get more enhanced loudness. You're going to get that saturation. two things that are great anytime you want to see what is going on with a plugin are vocals and break beats, like drum beats that have some dynamic range where you have some hats and snare and kick and a nice plethora of volume going on inside of there. Of course, this will start rumbling and shaking, and what that means is that the signal coming into it is getting hot. It's approaching that kind of clipping level, and this will flash red when it starts to approach that. Let's see with just color. I like this color knob, and doing this again really shows me that it is doing that. It sounds like it's that shifting knob of like this EQ, and moving through, whether it's adding more or less with color or with on here. It sounds like as I'm moving the color knob up and down, it's moving the EQ high end boost from like as you're going higher towards the 16K, and as you go lower towards 4K, 3K, 2K. And this can do a lot to help fix something where maybe here, because when I listen to this drum beat, it can help a lot to fix maybe your ride or your drum needs a bit of a slap. So you could put on sosej, keep 0%, making it not do really anything, and addressing a fix using color only. So there's a little bit of stuff that I kind of learned here that was a bit surprising, because the color, you know, when you have simple one knobs, like it's easy to get distracted and confused, but we always just have to trust what's coming out of it and how it sounds, because ultimately we're in a day and age now where a lot of producers, they have this fetish and obsession over plugins, but it really doesn't matter. Just what comes out of the plugin is what matters, and such that the plugin is easy to use. Those are the two big rules for me. Is it easy to use? And if it's not easy to use, is it approachable? Can we work within it? You know, as a quote unquote mechanic would, a mechanic wouldn't want to work with terrible tools. They got to have the right tools for the right job. So Sausage Fattener, definitely, as a recap, great for putting on your drums. It can really enhance them. It can really saturate them. Color can also be used a lot to enhance a lot of the air and the high-end frequency and finding the right spot with the color. You can also do that extreme where you pump up fatness and color all the way up. You turn gain all the way down, and that will just boost the presence and drive your track that you put onto it. And in regards to vocals, you could put on vocals, but my personal opinion would definitely be this Sausage Fattener is like fabulous on, maybe you put it on a song, maybe you're doing like a bootleg of a track, you don't have the vocal a cappella, you put it on there as like a final limiter. Individual tracks such as drums, bass, they are fabulous on that, a lead, something like that. Just be careful if you do put it on your master. Just A/B it, listen to the difference, and let me know what you guys think. Like, I just wanted to make a video today talking about Sausage Fattener because I use this plugin often, and just people don't give it enough credit for how like simple it is, because I just love how easy and simple it is to use. So let me know what you guys think about Sausage Fattener, and I've been thinking about making my own skin for Sausage Fattener. I don't know who I'm gonna make it of, some sort of celebrity or something like that. But it would be pretty funny to make something like that. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys using Sausage Fattener? Are you not? Is it good? Is it crap? And thank you guys for helping us reach 800 subscribers. Thank you. It means a lot to me. And make sure you guys smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, smash that dislike button. Drop a comment. Let me know if you guys have any requests for future tutorials. And until then, keep making some Sausage Fattener gains. and Mr. Sausage and I will see you in the next video. Take care.